Okay, we'll go ahead and bring the Board of Works meeting together. Will you two give me a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting held on April 16th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Who is wanting to go early? Carrie. Carrie, you want to start with wastewater stuff? I know you have,
Do you have a preference?
what's that?
Do you have a preference?
You have the pumps and what else?
I say that one, easier in case there's a few lingers.
Okay.
I didn't know if I needed to present the next item or how that would play.
Which one, the subdivision?
Thank you.
Is that part of this meeting?
Yeah, so what?
Just do it next, maybe?
Yeah. So, we're doing this. Sure, they get enough right when we're not doing it.
I don't know where that's on. I didn't.
Oh, it's just discussion. So, yeah, you can open up a discussion of it, and we'll talk about it. And we can talk about what happened in the planning commission. Okay.
The first item that we discussed tonight are pumps for the main lift station. There are a total of 3, we're calling them dry weather pumps, that pump every day for the indicator, and then 2 wet weather pumps. 3 of the dry weather pumps have been repaired, and repairs don't usually last that long, so it's time to consider getting a new pump. So I have multiple quotes here. The first page shows a price for 2 pumps from the BBC for a Fairbanks pump, which is what we currently have. I was hoping there was going to be a price break for ordering 2 pumps, but there is not, so there's a price or quote for a single pump. And then the last page, option 1 includes to repair the pump that needs to be repaired, which is $22,500 when you can order a new one for $24,000, so that doesn't make sense. Option 2 is for a chopper pump, and option 3 from American Pump Repair is for just a standard pump. There's a big price difference. American Pump Repair would require a confined space entry to go in and change the holes and the seating of the pump. So this is just the pump price, not the installation price. So I would recommend that the board strongly consider ordering 2 pumps from BBC for the grand total of $49,042. I prefer to do that just because I got it highlighted at the bottom. There's a lead time of 16 to 18 weeks. I've spoken to Erin, and she is okay with the department spending that amount of money.
So it's over $22,000 just to fix the pumps.
Yes. Just to fix the one. And so
The one.
right now I have no backup, and I prefer to have a backup since these are the pumps that get everything to the plant.
Right. What's the main lift station on Monmouth Road?
So the Fairbanks pump is just a complete in-kind replacement for what we have. So it would not require confined space entry. This would be just something that the guys, as long as we don't have any trouble, could put in and out. So we don't have to hire anybody to do that.
Would you take if you get the new pumps, then would you just take those and get the older ones refurbished then?
They all have been refurbished already.
Okay. So you get
we've already
two times out of it? All right.
When you're looking at a repair cost of $22,000 and a new cost of $24,000, it doesn't make sense to have it repaired a second time.
How long do they normally last?
These were all replaced prior to my starting, so I believe they're 7 years old.
Okay.
Which is about the life expectancy, I think 7 to 10 years for a pump.
Right.
And they're submersible, so there's no liners in them. They're not a centrifugal type pump.
Right.
I got it. I'd make a motion that we accept the $49,042 and get her 2 backup pumps. I don't want sewer. I want to be able to pump it.
Yep, it is the main lift station.
Second.
Motion is second, more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Okay, and then, I know these gentlemen were here for the planning commission for the last phase, or the whatever, what number of phases is it, Steve, for?
4.
Phase 4 of, Cross Creek. And I think you want to discuss some wastewater.
Yes,
Issues.
so the way that, how many homes is it?
8.
No, total homes. 36 total homes there. It doesn't appear to be enough fall to do an entire gravity system. So they're projecting anywhere from 8 to 11 homes that would either, you have multiple options. You could do, every home would have to have its own grinder pump, and that would pump to the city. You could do a lift station there, or you could send them via gravity to the sewer district there at Barrington Woods. So that's something that you guys are going to have to discuss, and I will answer the questions as best I can. How you would like to proceed with these anywhere from 8 to 11 homes.
We had some discussions in department head this morning. We've never had in-city housing pump to redevelop to the sewer district, but it also, do we want to add the maintenance of a lift station for 8 homes? Is there anything you guys want to bring up before we discuss it? You can come up.
I can tell a little bit of the pros and cons and so on.
Go ahead and state your name. State your name.
My name's Kevin McDermott. I'm an engineer with Lockheed and Associates. We've done all the engineering for Steve and Ralph from, last 30 years or whatever. And did all the, designed the original lift station for the Meadows at Cross Creek, all the gravity sewers up to where we're wanting to extend them now. And,
Did you have it up there?
Okay.
yeah. When Steve first was looking at buying this property, I had done some analysis that I thought that basically up to the smaller lots that are up to right where your arrow is, I had told him I felt like filling, we would be able to maintain cover over the sewers that far. Now that that was all based on GIS mapping, contouring, and so forth, and real preliminary type design. I haven't done any more detailed design than that, but my feel from that information, from that review, was that we could have as many as, I think 8's probably the max, could be served through the sewer district sewer on 750, but could not be served on the gravity line that goes back through the Meadows. I know Decatur is not Fort Wayne, and any other community I've worked in, but I have worked in different communities that have multiple utilities that serve. Fort Wayne, there are people in Fort Wayne that have Aqua Indiana, a private utility. I am a trustee on the Allen County Regional Sewer District, so I have a little bit of experience. We no longer operate the sewer, but the city does now. But before we turned everything over to the city, it wasn't unusual for the city to allow us to serve if we had a sewer that could serve, or for us to allow the city to serve in the county if they had the ability to do so. Same way with Leo or Huntertown or wherever. So in my experience, it's not that unusual to have a city property that goes to another utility, the regional sewer district. I know in Decatur that is unusual, so I can't, I know I don't have the right to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what my experience is. So I think Carrie's done a good job of explaining what I think the options would be. We would try to minimize it in the detailed design, but it could be as many as 8. I doubt that it's going to be the 11. That would be a real worst case scenario, but I doubt that. As many as 8 going to the sewer district. If I could reduce that to 6, that's what I would do in the detailed design. if it's reasonable to design fill in the street to get in lots to get it to go back to the south. That's what I would do. That would be our preferred option. I personally live in a home with a grinder pump that pumps to a pressure sewer, and because that's all I can either do that or have a septic system.
Right.
I've designed septic systems since 1980. I would prefer to connect a grinder pump to a pressure sewer system.
Right. Right.
So I do have a little experience in living with that. It's no fun to have the alarm in the basement go off that your pump's not working, and it takes 2 days to get somebody to come and replace the pump.
Right.
So I personally, as an engineer and a person that lives with that, I would recommend somebody, if they have the option of going to a gravity sewer, that they go to the gravity sewer. If they pay the sewer district an extra $20 or $25 a month more than they would pay the city, that's going to be more than made up in not replacing a $5,000 grinder pump, eventually. So, but those would be our options if the Board of Public Works and Kerry prefers us to do pressure sewers and grinder pumps on lots that we can't get into a gravity sewer. That's the way we'll design it. If you're open to us going to the sewer district, that's the way we'll design it. I think I know when we first started looking at this property, I had talked to the sewer district's engineer, which also had to be my engineer as a trustee on the Allen County Sewer District, so I know him quite well. And he had told me that they would have capacity for it, and I believe the gentleman that was at the meeting last week with department heads indicated that they would serve if the city allowed them to. So.
I think that was sewer district superintendent.
Right.
Okay.
So the good news is you get to treat the sewage no matter how it goes.
Right.
I don't think that's good.
Better news than a septic system.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about it after I found out that it's gravity
Yeah.
to the sewer district.
Right.
I thought it was going to have to be forced from there to the gravity, but
There are people in fact, our neighbor to the west, Mr. Bright, told me last week when I met with him that he is on the pressure sewer to the west of us, but there is a gravity manhole right in the intersection of Barrington, and it drains to the north and then eventually ends up in
Right.
on Winchester Road to pump back to the lift station I designed some 20 years ago.
right, right.
So based on the existing contract between the regional sewer district and the city, this type of situation would require city approval for a development or additional homes to tie into the sewer district that are located within the city. So for these types of lots that are being described, it would be something that Board of Works would need to approve in order for sewer district to be able to accept those clients or those customers. So I'm not sure that that's where we are tonight, but I think it's maybe just being brought up for discussion. But it is something that, based on the sewer district contract, that would be a requirement. So,
do you think the downfall would be, Carrie, to it being gravity to the county? Do you see a downfall in that, or?
I'm not super excited about it. I'm just afraid that, like what Fort Wayne has done with the sewer district, it's eventually going to get turned over to the city, and then we're servicing all of this, and I just see that being well, you've already got 8 city customers in this area, so why don't you take this whole line, and now we have 200 customers or whatever it may be, and that's just going to be a lot to maintenance. A lot. So that's my only apprehension to something that's...
But you're just afraid that down the road that they're going to want to combine everything?
Yeah. And that's what they've done in Fort Wayne, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't just as simple as...
I know.
We had a few homes that went to the city. I mean, it was...
You guys have, it's a lot more involved
Yeah,
with
it's
that,
a lot
but
more,
I just see this coming as potential. maintenance issue for the city.
City of Fort Wayne looks at it as, we want more customers. You know, the more customers we have, the more efficient we can be in treating the customers we have now. I know there is an economy of scale where that may not be the same case with the city of Decatur.
Yeah, I guess I'm sitting here thinking, Kerry,
I wouldn't think 8 lots is what's going to tip over some discussion.
well, I feel like they don't have maintenance. I don't know as a city if we would ever want to take over the maintenance of what the county is opening up right now, because they're maintaining pumps galore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a whole nother discussion, I think, in the
That's a
law.
can of worms.
Yeah.
The city of Fort Wayne did not want to own and maintain every individual
Right.
pump that the sewer district was, so that was part of the deal that, you know, they did not. So that there was a transitioning where they were willing to place those pumps once, and then they were the owners forever and
Right.
ever, kind of a deal.
Yep.
So yeah, it is unusual for a utility to own those individual grinders, but in sewer districts, it's not that unusual.
Because there are a few homes within city limits that own their own grinders.
Right.
And inevitably, when they fail, they call, and they're kindly reminded that they're the owners of that.
Yeah,
And
no,
we try to guide them as to, okay, you may be able to go here and here to find a replacement.
one of the concerns Carrie gave last week when we were, and I don't know whether this is the biggest concern that she has, but if these 8 people were sewer district customers and they have a problem, they're going to call her because they're in the city limits.
Mhm.
Well, she would tell them the same thing she just said she tells people with a grinder pump. We don't maintain those. She'd tell them, you're not our customer, here's the number for the sewer district.
Mhm.
No, I don't see that as being a huge obstacle. As you know, when he informs people when they buy lots, hey, you're going to be a sewer district customer, they're going to know right up front that their utility rate is going to be different from the city's utility rate.
Right.
And so I'm just playing devil's advocate here. As those lots are built on and somebody else comes in and buys that home, is that put in the deed, or how do they know that? Because I've got other people in the city that are, well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first buyer that's buying it from the developer, you know, they are
But how is
informed.
that relayed in the...
Yeah, I don't know whether there's a way for that to be put on their title. I know in dealing with septic systems in Allen County, they require that a notice gets recorded, that anybody that does title work on a lot is going to find that notice and know that they have a septic system. You could probably do the same kind of a thing.
So it attaches to the
with
title?
this, put a notice on each of those lots that when title work is done, they find out that they're a sewer district customer in the city. I would assume, I'm not an attorney,
I'm just bringing it up.
I was going to say, I'm not going to be designing these sewers tomorrow, so I don't have to know tonight.
Right.
But, you know, a month from now or whenever Steve says, hey, we've got to get to going, what do you have done? Then I'm going to need to know whether I'm designing gravity sewers to the north or pressure sewers to the south.
Right.
So I don't, like to say, I don't need to know tonight, but, you know, sometime in the next month or whatever would be good to know.
Maybe something to kind of note and put back on the agenda for discussion and decision. First meeting in June.
So, what did Plan Commission give preliminary approval tonight?
Plan Commission gave primary, but that is it is approving the general
basic
sketch.
layout, the concept. Now it's my job to go design the street grades, the sewer grades, storm sewers, ponds, and so on. And if you tell me that you can't let me know by June 1st, I can say, hey, Steve, I can't work on it, you know, until June 1st. Seriously, I would not be working on it before June 1st.
So we would just have to, if that was the method or the route we took, we could attach it to, it could be recorded, right?
Well, for Board of Works purposes, the primary question is whether or not the city is going to permit city residents to tie into the sewer district's gravity-fed line. And that, for your purposes, that's the primary and only question you really
Right.
need answered. And that would allow engineering to move forward and further plat development. It would also satisfy the requirement that the city authorize that tie into the sewer district for their contract purposes. So at some point, that kind of a decision is going to need to be made from Board of Works. Any conditions or whether or not those lots have a specific kind of covenant or recital stated in their deed or on their...
Another idea to put it in the...
That could,
Yeah.
it could be in the covenants, it could be noted on the final plat design that's recorded
Yep.
that shows lots 1 through 6 or whatever, whichever lots
Those are both ideas, yeah.
are separate utilities from the city of Decatur.
Yep.
And then it does put title searchers, it does put potential owners, successors in interest on notice that they are subject to a different utility other than the city for their sewage, for at least one utility.
Does
So
Cross-
that's an option.
Does Cross Creek maintain their own lift pump now, or we maintain that pump? So, the option would be to have all 9 houses get their own pump, because we're not going to want to put a lift station and pay $25,000 for a
Of
pump.
the 3 options she said, I would assume that if I were a utility, I would say that would be the last choice.
Right.
I'd say the maintenance on that would be, I mean, you've seen what it costs us to replace the pump.
And then
There would be a little smaller pumps
Yeah,
that
but
are rated
they-
lift stations, but still they are very expensive.
And then if you made every house put a grinder pump on, is that pressure line then ours after the pump? Because that to me sounds like more maintenance nightmare than anything.
Most utilities, I could speak that yes, it would be.
So we'd be maintaining pressure lines and then gravity lines?
Yeah,
Well, we wouldn't be maintaining
the
gravity.
main line. Each lateral would still be the homeowner's responsibility. It'd just be the main line to get connected to, like, I think it's lot 354 or something.
Wherever we've gotten the gravity sewers the furthest, the pressure, they would be.
It's pumped to that.
They would tip for 8 if it is only 8 homes, a 2-inch pressure line with grinder pump connection. The way Ogden, Indiana, or the city of Fort Wayne have design standards as to providing a clean out. And I do know sometimes they have to, clean the line out, but it's pretty rare. I don't know if you have any pressure
We
sewers
do
now.
from Oakwood, that's a pressure line.
And out here at Tucker Baker's, right? That's
East Monroe. We just crossed that bridge a couple of years ago with East Monroe. Well, at least with the sewer district. I think they pump back into it, don't they? East Monroe out there by the paint shop towards Thunderbird. There was 11 houses on that about 8 years ago. Huh?
Those are grinder pumps, those are not pressurized.
Oh, they aren't? Okay.
we're right here, we're...
Maybe I messed it up, like, I have to look into that. I don't remember.
Because right now you're just asking for approval to allow city residents to go to this line, right?
No, this is allow for the development to proceed. So this isn't an individual city resident asking to tie into the sewer district. This is a planned unit subdivision seeking
Right.
guidance about how to develop their wastewater and sewage.
Design solution.
Right.
I don't think you're
So-
opening the door if you let these 8 customers.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. I'm just asking
The-
for,
I mean,
setting a precedent for later.
Mhm.
If people say, hey, it's just easier to send to the sewer district from in town, let's just do that.
No, in this instance, it could be discussed about what the most cost efficient means is, what's going to be reasonable for a homeowner to maintain. Is it cost prohibitive to the developer to require them to fund and put in a lift station for the
Right.
city
Right.
to service 8 to 10
Right.
customers? So those are all the types of questions that in making that kind of decision would be considered and would form the record to differentiate that from, some other kind of situation where we might have to consider allowing a city property to be tied into the sewer district. So depending on the answers to those questions, they're going to form, it's going to be fact dependent.
Alright.
I mean, I don't see any, I think I would lean more towards letting them just gravity feed it to the county, in my opinion.
It sounds like the right thing. What do we on our billing with? I know you got trash, you got storm, you got sewer, you got water.
Sewer, storm, trash, fire protection.
Fire,
They're
you
gonna
got
pay
five
all, they're gonna pay all the other stuff except for sewer.
And what would that, I talked to Erin the other day, and she said it was for an average $93 for the sewer, for
District.
Oh,
the
sewer district, yeah,
yeah.
it's like 93.
And then what would it be in the cities?
The minimum's $29, but the average is 60, 70 probably
60
for the sewer, or 50, 60
Not
for
based
sewer.
on water usage.
Based on water
Yeah,
usage, yeah.
yeah.
Because I remember, so how would we, if they're not on our sewer?
Where they're
We
gonna
wouldn't
pay
know.
county.
We
wouldn't
charge
know.
for water and sewer, just a flat rate in the county, so.
Okay, so basically,
We
mattering
still have
on,
water.
we
still have
wouldn't
water.
matter about consumption, but then it would be metered from the county.
We still meter the water.
Okay.
But the sewer district doesn't worry about metering individual homes. They have meters at collection points
That we charge,
That we
we
charge.
bill off of.
Okay, so maximum would be, I mean, I'm just talking out loud, I'm trying to put a math, the number together, it'd basically be about $25 more a month for a person for those 8 lots.
probably, yeah.
If they
Yeah, I would say it'd be
to
fair.
take the gravity that direction.
Yeah.
And I think that's,
A little more than that.
It would be?
Well, you're talking about 93 for the sewer, and usually 40 to 50.
Yeah, because the average utility bill in town's about 80 or about $90, I think. Maybe.
Total.
Yeah, that's for everything, and probably 50% of that is sewer, 40% of that is sewer, so it's,
So it'd be $40.
the average is, yeah, probably 50, yeah, I would say it's 50.
it depends on the usage. I mean,
It's all based
Those
on water
people
usage.
that are gonna buy those lots, if you
Yeah,
talk to them and say, you're gonna have a $150 bill rather than a $100 bill, there's not gonna be any problem.
right. And they're not gonna have to worry about a grinder pump in their yard and everything else, I think.
I just wanted to know the numbers.
Right. It just depends. I mean, it depends on the size of the household.
Right.
I would say it would be anywhere from $30 to $50 more.
a two-person home, it could be $70 more. A full family, it might be cheaper.
Okay.
Then whoever had the idea of just putting in restrictions, that would be a very simple, lots number, whatever they are, those 6 lots would disclose in public where it's going.
Yeah.
Any problem taken care of.
And that would protect the next purchaser of that home also? So there would be an awareness?
Those restrictive covenants would be recorded and they would be made a matter of record.
For title search?
Well,
For
the
example, the
restrictive
next
covenants
person.
aren't necessarily coming up or reviewed with every search, with every property search, but it would be flagged that there are restrictive covenants. Like usually with deed, there's a notice. If it's part of the planned use development and Cross Creek has restrictive covenants, I think if a local searcher is doing it, it's going to come up pretty quickly. But yeah, it would be recorded, it would be made, people would be put on notice.
Okay. That's all I'm concerned about. It's
Yeah.
like somebody buys a property, builds a home on it, and then sells it to somebody else. Would they be aware of it? That's all my concern would be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a problem with it. If you guys want more discussion or talk about it more, but I think with those guidelines, it's pretty cut
What's
and
your
dry.
thoughts, Scott?
They're not small lots. We're not fishing for. They're not fishing for a small.
I'm fine with that.
In this scenario, it makes the most sense.
I don't think it opens a can of worms down in the future. I think it's a development, and this is just going with the development.
Yeah.
So I feel if he draws them up like that, I don't have a problem with it.
Right. I would just ask that when the Planning Commission gives final review, that it is attached to the title work so that it saves arguments with our staff up here when they call and say, wait a second, why don't I have the same sewer bill as my neighbor? And we can say, look at your deed.
Okay.
Right.
Is there something that can be put in, and maybe this is a different department or different meeting, that would pressure the builder and developer to reduce the number of homes going to the sewer district as much as possible?
Like put a cap on the number of lots that could be tied into it? I mean, the city would have the authority to make that kind of...
11, but I just don't want it to be 15.
Yeah. I'd come back here if I would take on my face if that were to happen. But I think 8 is the likely number. I'd be happy to report that once. I mean, have additional discussion once the detailed engineering's done, and we can definitively say this is how it worked out. You know, we've got a pretty substantial pond just below the screen.
Right.
So there is a substantial amount of dirt, but that north area where the smaller pond is, where your arrow is, that is all relatively low, and we have to, and so there'll be fill placed in there. A lot of the dirt will be used for fill in there, but we have to meet county road, and that's definitely not functional.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely, you design it with a really steep downslope to the north, as far north as you can go. I don't see it getting any fewer than 6, but I think it's most likely, based on the topography, going to be 8.
So if we give the approval to go forward with the engineering, when would you have that more definitive number?
He said before June, I think.
Steve's not in a big hurry. He's planning to farm this ground and not break ground until after the crops are harvested in the fall. So there'll be earthwork done in late fall, but I have to have the plans ready to get bidding and so on done, by late summer. By midsummer, I would have a much better idea on.
Okay. Do you need an action from us tonight then, Ian?
I think he was just looking for direction.
Just direction. If the direction is you're open to, 6 or 8, or like I say, I don't think it would be 11. Or maybe I come back once I do know the firm number. If you're open to that, then I would proceed with trying to figure that out.
That's what I would say, is let's revisit it when he gets a firm number. Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for clarifying everything. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Gary. Okay. Kevin G. You have a couple things. I think you have an officer leaving probation, and then we have an announcement. Or we'll do it both Board of Works and Council.
Hello.
Good evening.
Officer Hess will have 1 year on our department as of tomorrow. So just as a matter of record, I'd like to ask that he be removed from probationary status.
Right. And there's no pay change anymore, right? Because they take that earlier? Okay.
I'll make a motion to move Officer Hess off of probationary status.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And then the second matter would be announcing the new school resource officer that we've selected, and we went with Officer Andrew Elwell. He's been with us, it'll be 5 years in this June. And before he was with our department, he was with Montpelier for 1.5 years, and he's been with the 122nd Battalion for 10 years. So he's currently cross-training with Officer Bussey right now, just kind of learning faces and what Trent's days normally look like. In June, he'll get trained with canine training with CODA. In July, he'll go to his basic SRO class, and then August school starts. We'll have a very busy summer.
Right. And just so everyone knows, the police department as well as the school work together on the interviews. So think they're happy that they made a good choice.
Yeah, it was about a half day of interviewing the three guys interested in a lot of discussion, so.
Good. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. Real quick, Jeff, you have some discussion about paid on-call firefighters?
We finished our hiring process. We had 2 applicants for reopenings. We would like to hire Tony Heiser and Christopher Jones, with your permission. They're already firefighters with other departments. They have all their training already. Basically, they have about 24 hours to get used of training to get used to our equipment, and then they would be released.
That paid on-call crew's getting older and older every year, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yep.
We were doing some figuring. I know I'm not on the paid on call anymore, but I'm the 3rd oldest there now, so.
Yeah. It's been a great active group for a lot of years, that paid on-call group. I don't know if people realize how much they do responding to wrecks and fires and everything, and those guys are the ones that fight the fires and do a lot of the hard work. So
Yes.
It's a great group, it really is. I appreciate those 2 applicants. We're glad to take them in.
Do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the 2 new paid on call.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, we have, Jeremy, you have quotes for the signalization ramps and the ramps at 13th and Winchester?
A couple of years ago, I started working with the Redevelopment Commission on some projects along the 13th Street corridor, improving pedestrian safety, signalization, landscaping, sidewalks, you name it, we've talked about it. Due to budget constraints, we broke a lot of these projects up into different phases. Last winter, late last fall or early winter, we talked about the shifting the focus to the Walmart area at the right Walmart corner intersection or 13th Winchester Street there. So, Butler, Fairman, Cypress, when they were doing work with the Redevelopment Commission, engineered phases of that stretch. This phase right here that I have in my hand tonight is phase 3, which is a signalization and the handicap ramps for that intersection. There will be a phase 4 coming probably in the next couple months. We're looking at a pedestrian walkway to connect the areas from the Central Site ATM beside of Ace Hardware all the way up to Walmart. So we're just kind of piecing this together as we go and take care of the engineering step by step. So I have quotes for that work. According to our purchasing ordinance, that we're required sealed quotes. I put it out to our normal contractors, Brooks, Wayne, EUB, and Milestone or Springfield, if you will. We got some varying quotes here. I'm assuming there's 4 different ones, not all of them responded. So, you want to open them? You want me to open them?
I mean, it makes me no difference, Jim. Go for it. You got it right there.
First quote, and they did have the option. I also contacted Michiana Contractors, which does the signalization work, and Shambaugh and Sons, which also do the signalization work, just to see what our benefit was if we hired indirect versus running it through another general team, Milestone.
So these quotes are going to have signalization and the ramps in it? Yeah.
So, first quote. Proposal quote from Milestone Contractors. They have included just the handicap ramps, anything from mobilization, demobilization, all the way to all the concrete work, the pavement markings, for a grand total of $109,412.77. 109,412.77.
Is this 2 corners or 4 corners?
4 corners.
4 corners.
Four corners.
So that's no signalization, that's just ramps.
That is not the signalization on this. Second quote is from Brooks Construction out of Fort Wayne. They have included everything in their quote. Signalization, the handicap ramps, pavement markings, $212,231. $212,231. Michiana Contracting out of Plymouth, Indiana, which actually did the work on phase 2 at Bowman Street. $56,745.
So this is just signalization,
Just
probably.
signalization. $56,745. Last quote, Shambaugh and Sons. Pedestrian signals only. $59,879.50. $59,879.50. Permission to take these under advisement.
Yeah, I'd make a motion
Looks
to
like
take
the
it
low
under
one's
advisement.
under 100 and
160.
About
they're all
165,
under
166.
Or the low would be if you would.
Yeah, but that's
they bid
signalization only
separately. What's that?
Looks like about 166.
for a total project, ramps and signalization.
Yeah, looking at this though, I don't know how you wanted to do it. Milestone is under the 150, and they are separate without the signalization. Michiana is at 56, separate. It'd be 2 separate contracts.
Mhm.
If that's what you wanted to do it for, you can throw them all out and we can bid it.
I'll make a motion and take them under advisement.
Second.
Motion is second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
So I get copies of those when you get a chance.
Yeah, I did speak with Jeremy Freak, president of redevelopment, this afternoon. He could not be here tonight. I think he was at a game. Made him aware of what we were doing tonight, and he said, keep him in the loop.
When we did 13th and Bowman, NDOT worked with us and reimbursed us for signalization. Has there been any discussion there?
We needed to see what we needed to open these quotes up to go any further.
Okay.
We can submit it. We would have to pay it and then be reimbursed.
Right.
They didn't say no, but they didn't say yes.
Okay.
Was there money budgeted for this project this year?
Yes.
How much, or?
Redevelopment has right at $300,000 set aside for 13th Street.
Yep.
But there's also other segments. So I would feel comfortable, I'll look at it, but I would feel comfortable with Ms. Shanahan's milestone we worked with in the past. So,
Yep.
we're going back 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have the Northeast Indiana Works Merit Center lease agreement.
Yeah, I have that. I think the Merit Board already approved this. The Northeast Indiana Works used to share a suite with another entity. The other entity has left, so they are renting basically half of a room at $2,475 a year. So yeah, this would be a one-year lease.
And their lease renewal does permit, in the unlikely event somebody else wants to come in and rent an undivided half room, it does leave open the possibility for that. But
What was the square footage on that? Is it 900 feet?
So,
Well, it's half a room.
495, so 900 is the full rate.
Okay, so it's 450.
495 is the, yeah.
about 1,000 square foot room.
And then what do we do that times 5?
Should be $5 a square foot.
Yeah, $5 a foot, right? Okay.
So I just need a motion for Dan to sign that.
I'll make a motion to
Approve and authorize signature.
approve and authorize Mayor Dan Rickard to sign for it.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. We have the St. Mary's Township Fire Contract we want to discuss.
Yeah, so I have the St. Mary's Township fire contract. They had some budget issues also getting theirs passed, so they're reverting back to their 2023 budget, but they did sign the contract and set it in. Their total amount is $10,763.18 for the year 2024.
So this is the same as last year?
No, this is the 2024 amount.
Okay.
It's up. They have to revert back to their 2023 budget, so it's up to them to figure out how to make up the difference.
Yeah.
What was the increase, Kevin?
I don't know offhand.
No.
Was the same increase all the way around?
Same increases all the townships. Yeah.
Okay.
Just having trouble passing the budget.
They had a conflict. One of the signatures on the budget was a volunteer fireman, and so that was a conflict of interest. So they had to throw it out and go back to their 2023 budget.
Okay. I'll make a motion for pass it. We have
Approve the contract. Yeah.
approved the contract and have Mayor Dan.
We all
We all
signed.
signed it.
Oh, we all
Board of Works all signed it.
Okay.
Second.
Excuse me.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we have a demolition contract, I believe, for discussion on 1027 Schermeyer.
Actually, we already have a demolition order for 1027 Schermeyer.
Okay.
This was a house that went back to the bank. The owners were deceased, and we issued a demolition order a couple meetings ago. The property owner to the north has not quite a vacant lot. It has this structure on it, and she approached us about, since we're going to be down there to tear the house down, if we could take this structure down for her. She's willing to pay for it. I have a contract here for her to sign as long as I get your blessing.
What's going to be done with that lot then?
It'll just be vacant lot. Both lots will be vacant, actually.
Okay.
Well, this one here does have a metal shed on it that she wants to keep. She's got some stuff in there, but she's been maintaining this lot, keeping it clean.
Okay.
So eventually she's probably going to have 1027. It's her parents. She doesn't have the money to pay for that demolition at this time, but she'll have it paid off in a year. She'll go in and pay the liens that we put on plus the property taxes.
Okay.
So she'll end up owning both lots.
What was the address on that?
That one's 1025.
10.5. Okay. But they are maintaining the properties currently?
She's maintaining this one for now. Once we go in and remove the house, and I think there's a small metal shed on the back, then she's going to go maintaining that property as well.
Okay.
Motion to demo.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, lucky on the storms right now. We're going right around us. Oh, yeah.
What's that, thunder?
Storms are going north and south of us.
Thank
Right
God.
now.
I just hope they don't go east. Got a big barn under construction right now.
You don't want to fall.
Half the metal siding, the roof's on it, but siding.
Okay.
I got it insured
Do
today.
you have anything for Board Works? And do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
I think I have. Did you have anything else for Board Works?
Nope.
Making sure I'm not missing anything. I think that's everything. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?